Watch it kill him.
If you've been to a grocery store lately, you've probably noticed that all of America's food is ominously stamped with the day that food will die. I'm talking, of course, about expiration dates, which are also the premise of a 2011 movie with Justin Timberlake called In Time. Your time was stamped on your arm, and when your time was up, you expired. And if you're from Gen Z and you didn't realize Justin Timberlake was also an actor, he wasn't. But he didn't let that stop him from being in a ton of movies. When it comes to food, expiration dates might say expires on, or best by, or used by, or even the magnificent for wholesome great taste served before date stamped below. But all of these expiration date labels have one very important thing in common. They have nothing to do with whether the food is actually expired. That's right, these so-called expiration dates on your food are not and have never been about whether your food is safe to eat. And this is not just my Andy Rooney get off my lawn opinion, it is the
The movie opens up with a pixelated video game scene where two characters are fighting and falling from a height. Then it switches to our main character, Chev Chelios, falling from a helicopter and crashing onto a car in the street. He bounces off the car's roof and lands in the middle of the road near a junction. As soon as he lands, a group of Chinese henchmen quickly pick him up and put him in a van. Later, when Chev wakes up, he's in a makeshift hospital and he sees doctors removing his heart. Right then, a man named Johnny Vang enters the operating room and does something gruesome. He drops ashes from his cigarette into Chev's heart, which annoys the doctors. They quickly send Johnny out of the room and replace Chev's heart with an artificial one to keep him alive until they can take his other organs. It turns out the doctors are working for Johnny, who is an organ smuggler. After the heart transplant, Chev falls unconscious. In the next scene, a woman checks his body temperature in a peculiar way. She uses a thermometer between his legs, waking him up. Now let me see. Oh yes, it's very hot down there. After a while, Chev overhears two doctors discussing taking more of his organs, including his private parts. This infuriates him. Oi, no one's taking my dick and balls, prompting him to beat up the doctors. He then notices a yellow battery pack attached to his waist, but keeps it on and leaves the room. Naked, he wanders around the building until he finds clothes in a hooker's apartment. What? After he puts them on, he leaves the place. Johnny's men quickly follow him outside and point a gun at him. However, Chev manages to defeat them with relative ease. This is Statham in his prime, after all. He then forces one of them for information, and the guy reveals that Johnny has his heart. He also discloses that Johnny can be found at the Cypress Social Club. Following this, Chev enters a random car, hotwires it, and sets off to find his heart. While driving to the Cypress Social Club, he starts feeling weak and notices a warning light on the battery that's powering his artificial heart. This makes him anxious, so he decides to pull some wires out of the car and use them to recharge his heart's battery. Once he's done, the energy returns, and he accelerates towards his destination. During the drive, Chev makes a call to his doctor friend, Dr. Miles. He then reveals his predicament of having an artificial heart and asks for a solution to keeping it charged. This surprises Miles, and he explains that artificial hearts don't last for long. If the battery runs out, Chev will only have an hour to live. Miles then advises him to keep his body charged and find his real heart as soon as possible. As Chev gets closer to the Cypress Social Club, he encounters two mobsters who challenge him to a car race. However, he refuses the challenge and simply asks for directions to the club. Unfortunately, in a brief moment of distraction, Chev crashes his car, which leads to the loss of his heart's battery system. With no way to recharge, Chev asks the mobsters to juice him up. Juice me up, daddies. This of course confuses them, but they decide to comply anyway. They follow his instructions and Chev connects the jumper wires, one to his chest and another to his tongue. Surprisingly, the high voltage jolt charges his heart and greatly boosts his physical abilities. He can now run like a horse. After a while, Chev finally arrives at the club. At first, he unintentionally rescues a hooker named Rhea from an abusive customer. He then goes inside the club to find Johnny, but the mobster manages to escape by jumping over the fence. Meanwhile, Rhea becomes smitten with Chev as she considers him her protector. Our guy tries to ignore her, but his interest is quickly piqued when she claims to know where Johnny is. She then takes him to a place called the Nude Girls Club. Creative. Inside the club, the owner Chico is violently interrogating Johnny, demanding to know where Chev is. At first, Johnny won't talk, but when Chico harms one of his men, he speaks up. Just then, Chev enters the club and sees his ex-girlfriend Eve performing a pole dance. Her character wasn't treated misogynistically enough in the first one, so they doubled down. They share a kiss, but Rhea interrupts their moment, claiming that she's Chev's new girlfriend. This leads to a fight between the two girls, in which Eve emerges victorious. At the same time, Chico arrives at the scene and spots Chev. Delighted, he orders his men to attack and capture him alive. However, Chev is not going to give up so easily. He pulls out a gun and a deadly shootout ensues between the two parties. Somehow, Chev manages to defeat all of the goons, but Chico manages to escape from a back door. Chev then questions one of the goons about why their leader wants to catch him. The guy explains that it's not Chico, but another gangster, El Huron, who wants him dead, although they don't know know why. Furious, Chev shoots the guy dead and leaves with Eve. Unfortunately, when he steps outside the club, he's attacked by a group of police officers who start beating him up. During the fight, Chev's artificial heart's battery drains, but when one of the officers tases him, it recharges again, giving him extraordinary powers. He then fights back and escapes in one of the officers' cars with Eve. Unbeknownst to them, there is a hooker in the back seat. Apparently, hookers are everywhere. After a while, Chev uses Eve's mobile phone and contacts Dr. Miles to update him on his situation. The latter claims that if he can find his real heart, they can put it back in his chest. At that moment, the hooker reveals that she knows where Johnny is. She explains that he has a box with him and is likely at the horse racing track at Hollywood Park. Hearing this, Chev drives towards the horse racing track. "I know how to run like a horse. I can find it." But unfortunately finds himself in the middle of a protest rally led by a group of, you guessed it, hookers, demanding equal rights. Complicating matters, another group of police officers arrives at the scene. In response, Chev quickly flees the area, abandoning the car. In the next scene, he runs to a nearby park and encounters two boys who are using an electric collar on their dog. He confronts the boys, accusing them of animal mistreatment. Chev then takes the electric collar and places it around his own neck to recharge his heart. Later, the police arrive to arrest him, but the dog attacks one of the officers, giving Chev the opportunity to escape. However, he ends up surrounded by more police officers from all sides, with no further means of escape. At that moment, someone who looks like Chev's late friend Kylo arrives on a motorcycle and stops in front of him. He asks Chev to get on the bike and drives him away from the police. However, this mysterious guy has some nervous habits, and he ends up crashing the motorcycle, because of course he does. After recovering from the crash, the guy introduces himself as Venus, Kylo's twin brother. He reveals that he's on a
Best Trash Talk, Part 1.
Hail the Protector! Hail Derek! Aspect of... Get a haircut!
Best Trash Talk, Part 1.
Hail the Protector! Hail Derek! Aspect of... Get a haircut!
Maybe those tales weren't lives.
He died as dumb as he said. This fits me better than Gangplank.
Best Trash Talk, Part 1.
Hail the Protector! Hail Derek! Aspect...
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
I'm not ugly, but they're about to be.
Schools are ditching Google from all fronts. Up until the pandemic, Google Classroom interest was increasing year after year. But since 2020, interest in Google Classroom has struggled to even reach levels of 2015. Instead, many schools are opting for third-party solutions like Schoology, Canvas, and Blackboard. It's not just Google's virtual classrooms that schools are ditching either. Schools are also ditching Gmail. A quick Google search will bring up dozens of articles from school newspapers detailing the change. Here's a few examples. If you look up the opposite, however, not only do you find fewer results, but the results that you do find are often from 2010. And as for the oh-so-famous Chromebooks, these used to be the go-to devices for many school districts. But more recently,
Oh, they look angry. You look as good as you play, Trundle. Troll Chief, Troll King, King! Nobody trespasses in my town. I'm Troll Judge, Troll Jury, and Execute Troll. I'm the troll with the plan. The Freljord is mine! Did I break something? I'm not ugly, but they're about to be. The trolls are going to war! I like my human with a bit of... They look angry.
Enemy has been slain.
Time to start an ice age. King of Trolls coming through. Not troll. Foul.
Executed.
And execute.
Killing spree. An enemy has been slain. Enemy double kill. An enemy has been slain.
Going to war! Back off! I like my with a bit of spice. Get foul!
Rampage. Killing spree. Your team has destroyed a turret. Time to start an ice age. King of Trolls coming through. Unstoppable.
Troll King.
Double kill. down. Turret plate will fall soon. Enemy double kill. Your turret has been destroyed. Shut down. Your turret has been destroyed.
The Freljord is mine!
An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret.
The trolls are going to war!
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret.
Start an ice age. King of Trolls coming through. Get foul!
An enemy has been slain.
Hot troll cheese! Watch it!
An ally has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret. An enemy has been slain.
And execute! Troll!
An ally has been slain.
I'm the troll with the plan.
Enemy double kill. Your turret has been destroyed.
Freljord is mine!
An ally has been slain. have slain an enemy.
The trolls are going to war!
Enemy killing spree. An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret. Shut down. Enemy killing spree. Your team has destroyed a turret. Shut down. Your team has destroyed a turret. Shut down. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. An enemy is dominating.
Freljord is mine!
You have been slain. Enemy killing spree. Double kill. Triple kill. An ally has been slain. has been slain. Killing spree. An ally has been slain. Has been slain.
I'm not.
Been destroyed. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Your turret has been destroyed. Your inhibitor has been destroyed. Your turret has been destroyed. Your turret has been destroyed. A summoner has disappeared. Defeat.
Schools have started to complain about them. Apparently, Chromebooks have very short lifespans, making them a rather bad investment. This is a very bad sign, not just for Google's educational business, but their Office suite as a whole. Here's the thing, everyday people virtually never pay for Google Drive or Google Docs or Gmail because the free tier is more than enough for most people. So much of the money that Google and Microsoft makes from such products comes from corporations and schools. Google was never really able to break into the corporate market with their Office suite, but it did seem like they were breaking into the school market. The collaboration features and online nature of Google's Office suite made it perfect for team projects and presentations. Combine this with the pandemic, and you would think that schools would be paying Google more than ever, and that was the case at the beginning. When schools didn't know where to go, they turned to a familiar brand, leading to Chromebook sales rocketing by 87% between 2019 and 2020. But now that schools have had time to become familiar with Google's shortcomings and research other solutions, it appears that a popular choice is to ditch Google, and here's why. To understand why schools are suddenly ditching Google, we first have to take a look back at why Google became so popular among schools in the first place, as it was definitely not because it was the best option. I mean, there was never really any comparison between Microsoft Office and G Suite. Though G Suite had a few unique features like easy collaboration and auto-saving onto the cloud, Microsoft Office was the clear winner. And this is why corporations never really jumped on board with G Suite. They were looking for the best tools available. Not to mention, people were already familiar with the Microsoft Office suite, so going with Microsoft Office was a no-brainer. For schools, however, the choice wasn't as clear. Sure, Microsoft was better, but what real value would children, especially in elementary school, get from Excel or Word? The reality was not much. I remember back when I was in kindergarten and first grade, our class would go to the computer lab every week just to practice typing. As we moved into 4th and 5th grade, we would still write and revise our essays on paper. But when we were ready for the final draft, we would switch over to computers. But that was really the extent of all computer use. So, safe to say, Microsoft Office was quite overkill for most school applications. But it wasn't just Office that was overkill, it was really the whole computer experience. Most students had no use for a full-on Windows machine or Outlook email client. In fact, this just made students harder to manage. Instead of working on the final draft of an essay, students would just jump onto Armor Games or Miniclip. So, giving children access to a computer was often more of a distraction than a tool. Not to mention, Windows and Office were quite expensive. Schools often had to shell out $100+ to Microsoft alone with each computer. Clearly, what schools needed was a cheaper, watered-down version of the whole computer experience. This seems like the perfect opportunity for Google to step in with the G Suite, and that's what they tried doing in 2006, but it wasn't as successful as you might think. While Google's offerings did mesh better with the needs of schools, it wasn't something that schools really paid much attention to. After all, each school only had 1 or 2 computer labs, so paying a premium for 25 or 50 computers wasn't the biggest concern. Not to mention, schools had full control of when they would incur these costs. They could just stick around with Windows XP and Word 2003 as long as they wanted. So in the late 2000s, schools weren't exactly jumping up and down to switch to Google, but all of this would change with the 2010s. Google's popularity within the educational space can really be summed up by one trend: schools aiming for a student-to-device ratio of 1:1. Suddenly, buying Windows licenses wasn't just a matter of purchasing 25 or 50. Elementary schools themselves had to buy several hundred, middle schools and high schools had to buy thousands, and colleges had to buy tens of thousands. Some richer schools continued to shell out money for Microsoft licenses, but this didn't last for long, as Microsoft would shoot themselves in the foot. In 2010, Microsoft would introduce a subscription model for Office called Office 365, and this would eventually become the only option. Really, the only reason for this move was that a subscription model was more lucrative for Microsoft than a licensing model. Most corporations would just pony up the cash and jump onto the subscription, because for professional use, the G Suite wasn't really a viable option. For schools, however, Google's offerings started to seem a lot more attractive. Google's offerings were not only cheap, starting at just $3 per student per year, but you could even get it for free if your school met certain qualifications. Around the same time, Google would also come out with the Chromebook, which was also perfect for schools. Schools didn't have to worry about kids doing anything too crazy with Chromebooks, because they couldn't do much to begin with. It turned out that Chromebooks and the G Suite were the exact watered-down versions of computers that schools were looking for. And before you knew it, schools were switching to Google left and right. This isn't to say that they ditched Microsoft completely. Schools might have still had a few dozen Windows and Office-based computers in computer labs. But as for the hundreds and thousands of computers that were being issued to students, these were of course Chromebooks. So when Google launched Classroom in 2014,
30 seconds until minions spawn.
trolls coming through.
Minions have spawned.
Oh, they look angry. I'm Troll Judge, Troll Jury,
First blood. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
roll with the plan. Knock 'em dead. Did I break something? They're going to war! I'm not ugly, but they're about to be. Hot Troll King, Troll King. The Freljord is mine! I like my human with a bit of spice. King of Trolls coming through.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Shut down. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. 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 An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. You have been slain. Turret plating will soon fall.
Time to start an ice age.
An ally has been slain.
I'm not ugly.
An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret.
The Freljord is mine! I like my use. Fight.
You have been slain. Your turret has been destroyed.
They look angry.
Your turret has been destroyed.
And execute, troll. the plan. Time to start an ice.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Killing spree. Your team has destroyed a turret. Your has been slain. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Unstoppable. Double kill.
King of Trolls coming through. Oh, they look angry.
Shut down. An enemy has been slain. Double kill. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret. Your team has destroyed a turret. Killing spree.
Time to start an ice age. I'm not ugly, but they're about to be. Not Troll Chief, Troll King.
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor. Your team has destroyed a turret. Victory!
It's no wonder why became the go-to option for most schools. But this heyday for Google Education only lasted for a few years. By the late 2010s, teachers and students started noticing quite a few shortcomings. You see, Google Classroom was nothing more than a UI to share and manage Google Drive documents and presentations. When a student turns in a document, literally the only thing that's happening is that the sharing permissions are being changed. The document gets shared with the teacher and the student loses editing permissions. That's pretty much it. This in itself was a pretty crappy solution because students could no longer edit the document once it was turned in, which didn't really make sense in a lot of situations. Also, there were no robust systems for self-grading assessments, announcements, gradebooks, online discussions, or meetings, just to name a few. These are all basic features that are available in every other e-learning solution. But despite the shortcomings, most schools put up with Google throughout the late 2010s because it was cheap and was mostly sufficient for their needs. But all of this would change with the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, there was a massive influx of schools switching to Chromebooks and to Google Classroom because that's what was popular. But as the pandemic raged on, schools simply started investing in better solutions, and the reasoning isn't rocket science. Virtual classrooms were no longer an extension to in-person classrooms. For a period of time, they were a full-on replacement to in-person classrooms. And even with the shift back to in-person classes, the utilization of these e-learning platforms is larger than ever. In fact, in many schools, it seems that the in-person aspect is now the extension. Every homework, every quiz, every test, and every project is completely online. The instructions are posted online, the students work together online, and the project is turned in online. Basically everything other than the teacher's lecture itself can be found on Canvas or Schoology or whatever platform the school is using. At universities, even the lectures are automatically recorded and uploaded onto these platforms. In terms of cost, Canvas does have a free tier, but that's mostly for small-scale implementations. For example, if you're running a yoga class or a math tutoring service, you might use the free tier. For district-wide and university-wide implementations though, Canvas is not free. It's actually quite expensive. Canvas doesn't have any sort of set pricing, and each school is handled on a case-by-case basis. But here are some numbers that are floating around online. It seems that on average, schools have to pay an upfront fee of several $1,000s to set up the initial system, plus about $25 per user per month. This could be higher or lower depending on what level of integration and the branding a given school is looking for, but that's a ballpark number. As you can see, that's several times more than Google's $3 per month and free tiers, but systems like Canvas are also several times more effective than Google's tiers. And given how heavily these systems are now utilized at schools, it simply doesn't make sense to go with a watered-down version from Google. The same logic applies to Chromebooks as well. Students no longer go to the computer lab once a week to practice typing. They use computers the entire day at school and after school as well. Also, they're doing increasingly complicated tasks. Nowadays, students are 3D modeling in engineering classes and coding algorithms in computer science classes even in middle school. Also, every job in the world uses Windows or Mac, so it really makes no sense to train students to use Chromebooks. Some districts are even going as far as purchasing MacBooks and iPads for students. But even those that aren't going that far are very much seeing a resurgence in Windows and Office and more professional tools in general, even though they're more expensive. In the end, it seems that Google's greatest advantage within the educational space has also become their greatest weakness. When tech adoption was still relatively early stage with schools, Google was able to make a big splash by offering tech for extremely cheap, whether that be Chromebooks, the G Suite, or Google Classroom. While these options did have their shortcomings, when the virtual classroom was simply an addition to in-person learning, they held up alright. But when virtual learning is front and center, the whole Google ecosystem starts to fall apart. We should also mention that school districts are now being run by a newer generation that better understands tech. They realize that investing in good tech for students is way more valuable than buying pencils and papers and desks or even building new buildings. The ROI is simply incomparable, and that's why schools are giving up on Google. They're simply leaning towards more professional solutions that make more sense in our increasingly tech-driven world. Education may not be the only realm in which Google is losing ground. They may also be losing ground in YouTube with their new ad block policies. If you want to know why, check out this video. But until then, I'm Hari, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
In the opening scene, we tend not to pay the hits, causing a goat on the boat to fall into the passenger compartment. Thomas picks it up, but another passenger snatches it from him and throws it into the water. Try not to laugh, citing it as a sacrifice demanded by their goddess. In the morning, the group reaches the coast, and they continue the rest of their journey on foot, eventually arriving at a quaint, old-fashioned village. There, all of them are examined and interrogated, one after another, before being led to their respective cottages. That evening, Thomas walks out of his cottage to explore explore the village. During his walk, he witnesses villagers bringing an unconscious man. Thomas is curious to know what's going on, but he opts not to intervene. After this, he goes to the nearby church, where the cult's leader, Malcolm Howe, is delivering a speech about the island. Malcolm recounts how he and two other friends, Frank and Quinn, escaped England due to religious persecution and ended up here. Later, the unconscious man from earlier is subjected to a brutal beating by Malcolm, Frank, and Quinn. It turns out he is the same man with whom Thomas swapped his ticket. The trio believe that the man is Jennifer's father, who has come to rescue his daughter. They demand for the ransom, but the man is clueless about the situation. Frustrated, they slit his throat and brutally kill him. Despite this, Malcolm still believes that there's an intruder in their village. That same night, Thomas sneaks out from his cottage and secretly wanders around the village in search of his sister. During this, he witnesses a husband cutting his wife's arm to offer her blood as a sacrifice. Next, he peeks into Malcolm's place and sees the cult leader descending through a secret trap door in the floor. Shortly after, he comes across Frank's son, Jeremy.
You're joking. That is a Kali top.
And now I win.
Oh! Easy.
Eating good tonight.
I like this voiceover. It's much better than the old one. This video is sponsored by Blitz. Blitz.
Today, I'm going to Denny's at 3 a.m. and leaving a positive review. On Yelp, Denny's has an average rating of 2 stars, and some of the reviews are not very nice. When our food came in, it was cold. Waited 45 minutes for an order that never arrived. They messed up my burger. Well, Esmeralda, we'll see if that's true or not. I've never been to Denny's before, so I didn't know what to expect, but since I'm starving and it's open 24/7, that's a star. I was the only person here, but eating alone is one of my favorite hobbies, so that's a star. The server was so sweet and asked me if I had a nice day.
Welcome to Summoner's
I replied by saying, my day is just getting started.
I'm Troll Judge, Troll Jury, and Execute Troll.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
I'm the troll with the plan.
Minions have spawned.
I'm not ugly, but they're about to be. Oh, they look angry.
An ally has been slain. Slain.
King of Trolls coming through.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Enemy double kill. An enemy has been slain.
I'm Troll Judge, Troll Jury, I'm the troll with the plan.
You have slain an enemy.
Like my human with a bit of spite. Freljord is mine!
Your turret has been destroyed. An enemy is dominating. An enemy has been slain. Turret plating will fall soon. Your team has destroyed a turret.
Time to start an ice age.
An enemy has been slain. Double kill. Your team has destroyed a turret. Slain. An ally has been slain. Your turret has been destroyed.
The trolls are going away! Trolls coming through.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain. Shut down. Your team has destroyed a turret.
of trolls.
Has been slain.
With a bit of spice. Not Troll Chief, Troll King. King!
An ally has been slain.
The Freljord is mine!
An ally has been slain.
Troll Jury and execute!
Killing spree. Double kill.
I'm the troll.
Ally has been slain. Enemy killing spree. Ally has been slain. Your turret has been destroyed. Your turret has been destroyed. Shut down.
Not ugly, but they're about to be. They look angry.
started. Get it? Because it's 3 a.m. So that's a star. I ordered the sample plate and avocado bacon cheeseburger. I timed it and it took exactly 6 minutes and 24 seconds for them to bring out both dishes. How they did that, I don't know. Did they know I was coming at 3 a.m.? Possibly. So that's a star. But the real question is, how does the food taste? The food is so good that it could cure and cause heart disease at the same time. 5 stars. Today, I'm going to Denny's at 3 a.m. and leaving a positive review. On Yelp, Denny's has an average rating of 2 stars, and some of the reviews are not very nice. When our food came in, it was cold. Waited 45 minutes for an order that never arrived. They messed up my burger. Well, Esmeralda, we'll see if that's true or not. I've never been to Denny's before, so I didn't know what to expect, but since I'm starving and it's open 24/7, that's a star. I was the only person here, but eating alone is one of my favorite hobbies, so that's a star. The server was so sweet and asked me if I had a nice day. I replied by saying, my day is just getting started. Get it? Because it's 3 a.m. So that's a star. I ordered the sample plate and avocado bacon cheeseburger. I timed it and it took exactly 6 minutes and 24 seconds for them to bring out both dishes. How they did that, I don't know. Did they know I was coming at 3 a.m.? Possibly. So that's a star. But the real question is, how does the food taste? The food is so good that it could cure and cause heart disease at the same time. 5 stars. Today, I'm going to Denny's at 3 a.m. and leaving a positive review. On Yelp, Denny's has an average rating of 2 stars, and some of the reviews are not very nice. When our food came in, it was cold. Waited 45 minutes for an order that never arrived. They messed up my burger. Well, Esmeralda, we'll see if that's true or not. I've never been to Denny's before, so I didn't know what to expect, but since I'm starving and it's open 24/7, that's a star. I was the only person here, but eating alone is one of my favorite hobbies, so that's a star. The server was so sweet and asked me if I had a nice day. I replied by saying, my day is just getting started. Get it? Because it's 3 a.m. So that's a star. I ordered the sample plate and avocado bacon cheeseburger. I timed it and it took exactly 6 minutes and 24 seconds for them to bring out both dishes. How they did that, I don't know. Did they know I was coming at 3 a.m.? Possibly. So that's a star. But the real question is, how does the food taste? The food is so good that it